The Vitaphone Maserati of Enrique Benoldi, which has now been taken over by Zandy Negral. They had a great stop, but what happened to the Nissan, John, of Dumbreck Krum?
Well, we need to see what happened. The pit stop, from the little we saw prior to going back onto the action on track, looked like everything was working fine, but of course we don't know what the outcome was.
There is the race leader. It is Darren Turner at the wheel of the number 7 car. But look how close the Vitaphone Maserati is behind, and watch out for Piccioni joining from pit lane.
Now the Aston is not in the pit now. There it is now. So certainly one place at effectively 1 and 2. So the Aston may well squeeze down into turn 4. It may consolidate and stay or get to second place.
Watch
There's
this.
the Nissan behind.
Watch this with the Maserati though, because the Maserati's got good tyres on, and Zandy Negral's going to come down the inside and retake what will be second when they've all made their stops. That was such an important move to make.
Absolutely essential, because if the Aston had stayed ahead, that would have been almost the end of the chance of winning the race for the Maserati. Zandy Negral aggressive. Second lap, so he's got that feel of the car on those new tyres, and Jonathan Hershey had to basically feel his way into turn 4, wasn't in a position to really offer any major offence.
Oh, look at this, Alex Muller and Thomas Much side by side again. Much trying to get the place back, and he's got it, I think, through the centre S, and Maserati versus Ford, round 2 goes to Much.
I'd like to see that little bit of action, just he caught the tail end of it, but clearly Thomas Much got a good run on the Maserati, got up alongside, whether it was the inside or the outside, and they fought wheel to wheel again. Good, clean motor racing.
I'm loving this. A really good display of clean, hard racing, and this is what we enjoy. Let's go down and hear from Thomas Much's teammate Richard Westbrook in the pits.
Richard, that's the performance that Thomas is looking for.
Well, we're too slow today. It's as simple as that. We're really struggling with engine temperature and gearbox temperature, and had to back off a bit. Same to be said for all the Fords. It's just too hot for our car, and it's not working quite to plan at the moment, but we'll see where we end up at the end. I think we're just about in the points now, but it's not what we were hoping for. We're hoping to be much quicker than this.
Down the inside, Muller's got him again. And what a dice this is proving to be, and Much is going to try and come back at him again.
Well, those are the areas where the Maserati is strong, and we've seen it on a number of passes, but the Ford V8 power up the hill, in spite of what Richard Westbrook was saying about the heat affecting the Ford engine and gearbox. But I think this time the Maserati has done enough. It's regained that position, and it looks likely it's not going to be changing in the next lap or 2.
Look at Turner's car. That car, you can see the back of that Aston also sliding around. They're all struggling for back-end grip. Oversteer is the problem here. Now, how can Zandy Negral deal with... Oh, and then we've got another change. Got past the Aston. Yeah, he's got past at last, and now Alex Buller's going to try and follow.
But he can't do it round the outside, down the hill from Magula. There's no way, but he might have a look up the inside into Juncao, because he's going to dive up the inside. The Aston has left the door open. He had no real defence. Now Thomas Much, he's going to have a bit of it as well. He's got V8 grunt. He's going to try and get the slipstream. Watch these 3 cars. The Aston's going to try and come back in the Maserati.
And it could open the door for Thomas Much as they climb up this hill. But has he got enough with the excess gearbox and engine temperatures that Richard Westbrook was telling us about in this car? It might not be delivering its best performance. He's really going to have to go for it here. He is down the inside. Has he got enough ground? He's got past the Aston Martin. He latches onto the back of his favourite Maserati once again.
But he actually was almost in danger of overrunning the corner and running into the back of the Maserati, because he had to wait till the last minute to make the decision. Well, I won't die, and he made the right one. He got past.
So, Michael Bartels has moved himself up into 9th position. 10th place for Alex Muller in the white and black Maserati. 11th place, just outside the points then, for the Ford of Thomas Much and Richard Westbrook. But he needs to move ahead to keep his championship hopes alive. Needs to get up ahead, in particular, of Michael Bartels. That's not looking like it.
Oh, he runs wide in the middle of the Fiadora, opens the door, the Aston goes back through. Maybe it's just lack of grip, or the sense of a big oversteer moment coming, or maybe heat in the driver, not just the engine and gearbox.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe a momentary loss of concentration, and achieved his target. Now he finds himself looking at the back of that Aston. These two quite a way ahead of the Corvette of Alex Margaritis in 3rd place. Jonathan Hershey in the Clivio Piccioni Hexis Aston Martin still running 4th, and Michael Krum in 5th in the lead Nissan in the race. Again, they've held their position since the pit stop, but it was that slow pit stop that hurt them so badly. Bas Linder's still running in 6th place. Bit of a slide there from Zandy Negral this time.
Again, Negral, they've just got more grip than the Aston. The Maserati may still be slipping and sliding, but watch down the inside. He's going down the inside.
Oh,
collision!
Contact. change of lead as he goes through. Zandy Negrão hits the side of the Aston Martin, and the crowd are going crazy already, and so's the Vitaphone team.
Well, it was inevitable. The Maserati clearly, over the last 3 or so laps, was the quicker of the two cars. Darren was struggling with overall grip at the rear. We saw almost the same thing happen a lap earlier, but now Negrão has gone ahead. He's pulled out over a second before they've even completed this lap.
Well, as he comes up past the grandstand, he's going to get a massive reception here. Zandy Negrão, in front of a packed house, has taken the lead in the all-Brazilian driver lineup in the Vitaphone Maserati. And it makes a big difference in terms of the championship, because the young driver Aston Martin, if it had won that race, would certainly have closed a lot of points on Bartels and Bertolini. But look at Zandy Negrão stretching the legs of that Maserati now. He is easing away. Well, look at it, every corner a couple of tenths.
And I tell you now, the Aston's going to become the subject of a lot of attention from that Corvette in third place, because the Corvette lapping the last lap almost 2 seconds a lap quicker.
That was the move. It was a late lunge down the inside, but it was track knowledge as well that Zandy Negrão used there.
Yeah, it was a hard move, but it was just about fair in my opinion, because the opportunity had been offered up to Negrão, although there was contact sufficiently far alongside the Aston Martin to make it stick, and I don't think there'll be any complaints from Darren. Will he make a dive down the outside? He's gone around the long way, but the Aston, and there was
Oh, this is going to be... Look at Thomas Much in the Ford. He's joining in to get into it. And behind them, the Lamborghini. 4 cars squeezing through the second part of the Senna S out of the Curva del Sol. This is wonderful, wonderful racing we're enjoying.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to get my handkerchief out, because I'm sure we're going to have tears somewhere before this quartet finish this race.
Jan Clary in the Aston trying to defend still from the other car of Stefan Mucker. Thomas Much desperate to get to the front of this queue, but riding on board with Christopher Haas. Side by side, the two Assies got past, so Stefan Mucker's got past. Jan Clary and Much is going to try and go around the outside. That's brave. That's brave. It's so narrow through here, and they give each other space. That's round 6, I would think, between those two. And this time, up comes Christopher Haas on the inside as well.
Yeah, the Aston was forced wide as well, and of course, it's the dirtier part of the racetrack, but good racing. All 3, in fact all 4 of these cars and drivers have just been on the limit of what is acceptable, and they've managed still to make overtaking and keep, well, they're still in a battle. Who's to say the Ford GT will get ahead of Stefan Mucker in the Aston, or will it end up following this Aston? Now alongside, was there a mistake from the Ford? Was it in this gear? Not with the sequential gearbox. It wasn't just a Lamborghini, some way or other just pulled out and shot past the Ford.
That was a strange one. It certainly seemed to suddenly lose some power. He's coming back again though, and Thomas Much wants the place back. He's going to try and outbrake round the outside. Late on the brakes, they're both as late as they can be. Turn into this tight left-hander, plunge downhill, and he's retaken it again.
I do not understand. And the pass is almost going to be another repass. Now we'll have to wait till they get down to turn 4 to see whether the Lamborghini can once again work a miracle and get itself ahead of Thomas Much in the Ford GT.
Here comes Zandy Negrão, and to the reception, a massive reception of the Brazilian crowd here. They are going to witness an all-Brazilian victory.